The Black Economic Justice Institute will hold an educational event Saturday on workers' rights. To tell us about what's being covered are guests from the Institute, the co-founder and program director, Priscilla Flint Banks, and board member, Curtis Rollins. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting us.
I was with Priscilla. What has been happening lately that got you to have an event like this?
Well, we're working with SEIU Local 32BG, and what we find out is going on is that there are a lot of people that have quarries, and there are a lot of immigrants that are not being given their full rights on the job, and they're not aware of it. You know, there's a right to minimum wage, there's a right to overtime pay, and a lot of these workers are not aware of that. A lot of them are working longer hours than they should. A lot of them are not being paid what they're supposed to be paid. So us, along with some other community-based organizations, are holding these workshops and gathering the stories of the employees.
Curtis, this sounds like something that was going on not too far from Dudley Square, at least a few months back, with some of the development that's going on. What was involved in getting the information and just getting people to tell you what's going on?
It is a similar conversation, and the involvement is just having that conversation with people, having the conversation with the people that feel comfortable with having the conversation with. As a community organization, as grassroots organizations, the people in our community already know us. They feel comfortable with talking with us. They know the work that we do. So when we present, and they know about the actions that we've had in terms of getting equality, getting the equal pay, getting better pay for them in when it comes to the jobs that are coming in the community. So the trust that they would have with us getting the information from them, but not it being detrimental to them by giving that information being leaked to their employer and having repercussions from their employer, is one of the things that is most important to us.
Priscilla, I guess you're going to have some information about that, how a worker can get that information across without being exposed.
Right. So what we do is we tell them if they don't want their name used, we won't use their name, but we do want the name of their employee and actually
their employer, you mean? Employer,
I'm sorry, yeah. And what actually is happening. And so we have a database that we actually input the information into, because there's one time there were some people that had a problem, and what wind up happening is that there was a standout in their a protest at their place of business. And so after the protest, people, you know, the employers were a little bit kinder and did the right thing.
Curtis, what about some of the abuses that you've heard about that workers are encountering?
Mostly what I encounter and hear about are, or when I get involved, are the quarry aspects of it, mainly, or what I've heard a lot that has come about when it comes to workers are that they're getting fired or having repercussions for having a quarry in the past, even with a current employer. So they could be working at the job 5, 8, 10 years with no problems. When they're going to get another position in that job, maybe a higher position in that job, and now with the new laws, they're running a quarry check and they're saying, oh, we see something from 20 years ago that makes you a bad employee. That doesn't make sense when the past 10 years, they were a very good employee for you, enough so that you're willing to promote them, but now you're running a quarry check, and 20 years, what happened 20 years ago is a detriment to what's been going on the past 10 years in your company.
Priscilla, what can an employee do if they run into that?
Well, if there's, you can file with the Attorney General office, you know, a complaint. We can also work with the, work with them to see if maybe we may be able to help them. I know a couple of people who worked at separate hospitals, told their employees that they had quarries. The employers hired them anyway, and then they fired them after their queries came back, you know, even though they knew that they had queries. So there's a lot of that's going on, and that's why we're trying to gather the stories, because we want to see if it's a particular employer or if there's different types of employers. There's things with the contracting. Some people work and they don't get paid. You know, they work long hours and they don't get paid. They have a right to get a paycheck, you know, with information on it. Some people are being paid in cash, you know, so they can't really prove that they've worked, you know, because taxes aren't being taken out. So there's a lot of things that are going on in the workplace that a lot of people are not aware of, you know. And another alternative is that if enough people get together, they can, you know, go to the union and have the, you know, union support them.
Curtis, we just saw these stories recently about nannies who are practically living under house arrest. But these are people, you know, it's a very dicey thing for them to drop a dime on an employer, isn't it?
Yes, it would be. Especially if they're living with their employer, they don't have anywhere else to go, depending on if they're coming from out of the country, they're depending on them for their work visa. There are a lot of factors that they will feel, okay, even if they know their rights, they would be, you know, less likely to exercise them for fear that, you know, a lot of things would be revoked and they won't have the quote unquote opportunities that they're having now, and they would be shipped back home.
Priscilla, tell us about the event on Saturday and some of the people who are going to be giving advice.
Okay, so we have some of our board will be there who work with us, and we're hoping that people will come and tell us their stories. We ask them, do they know their rights? You know, we give them information. You know, some people think they can just be fired for no reason. There's a lot of, you know, we look at the laws to determine, you know, what can be done and what can't be done. And a lot of times you think it could be, you know, it's a law, and it just could be just unfair practices. So we're looking for, you know, we're working within our community, which is Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, where we have the highest rate of unemployment. So we're really working to inform people so that they will know what their rights are, you know, and how they can go about exercising their rights.
And this is going to be held at what time and place?
It's going to be held from 12 to 2 at 7 Cheney Street in Dorchester in Grove Hall. That's where our office is located.
And Curtis, briefly, you also have an event coming up, a mass meeting later this month?
Yes, Boston Workers Alliance is having a mass meeting that coincides with their 10th anniversary. That will be on September 22nd. That's a Tuesday. That will be held at 12th Baptist Church, starting at 6 o'clock. To introduce us as, along with BG and Community Labor United, as becoming the Boston chapter of the National Black Workers Center circle.
Thank you very much. Curtis Rollins and Priscilla Flint Banks.
Thank you.
Up ahead, a walk and run through the streets of Roxbury. But first, this message.